Happy Monday to you, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Hey, I want to talk to you today about the patch model. You're probably going, okay, what the heck is the patch model? Well, you're about to find out because it's really important, especially if you want to own more than one dog in your household. So many things factor into their compatibility. And the number one factor above all else, even for you, no matter whether it's compatibility or not, whether it's your career, your relationships, none of this matters unless you have concerns and you've been able to work out the long-term net rate of energy intake. You hear that? The long-term net rate of energy intake. In other words, food. What's it going to cost you to get food? When are you going to eat it? How are you going to get the darn food? What time will you eat? Many of these considerations are taken sometime during our day. No matter how busy you are, no matter what you're pursuing, food will come to the forethought in your brain at some point. You'll get those hunger pains and you'll start thinking all that stuff there. But for animals, it's different. I don't know if you've ever watched any of these survival TV shows that are on, but you'll notice that the whole darn show, is about these people acquiring food. Yeah, they've been reduced to an animal. And when you're an animal, that's what you think about all the time. The long term, not short term. I'm thinking long term here, baby. I need a lot of food, and I plan on being around here for a while. The long term net rate of energy intake. So that being said, many scientists have studied this in animals. Kind of helps give us a little indication of what's going on with us as well. So what is happening? How do animals solve this equation? Well, they do it in many ways, and one of those is through a model, an optimality model known as the patch model. Okay, so here's how it works. In the wild, prey is distributed in the environment and such that they are found usually clumped together in patches. So I've kind of drawn up here on this board here. The red denotes patches within a habitat. And what can be a habitat be? Let's use the example of the wolf, and then you're going to find out in tomorrow's video, this habitat will be your home. So in a habitat, maybe within a wolf's territory, within it are these little patches in which prey can be found. So what are patches? Why would animals be aggregated into these small clumps, in these patches? Well, maybe that's where a water supply is. Maybe a mountainous terrain prevents them from grouping anywhere else. Maybe there's a big rock face. Maybe there's overpredation in a certain area. Maybe mankind's camped out over here nearby. For many, many reasons, you'll find prey for predators usually clumped together in patches. So now it's been studied. What do these predators do with patches? Well, most of them will seek them out, and once they find them, they will typically exploit them. Of course, why would you not? Hey, I just found a darn grocery store in the middle of nowhere. Why would I not exploit that grocery store? So here comes the big question, and it's the whole reason why the patch model was devised. When is it more profitable to abandon a patch than to stick around? When is it more profitable? Why don't you just keep hanging out in this patch here and hoping that prey will come to that patch, or the prey will produce more prey? When is it? That's a big question because many things have to be taken into consideration. If you're going to abandon the patch, it could be a long ways to another patch. And do you even know that there's another patch there? So travel time, all of this takes into account cost benefit. Keep that in your brain. Cost benefit. Keep in your brain. When is it more profitable to abandon a patch than to stick around? Because out here, between these patches, there's no prey. There's none. It is little or no prey out here. There's usually some sort of rugged terrain, like I said before, fire breaks, human population, you name it. And there's these patches of prey. So when does the predator to make that decision there? And many things weigh on that decision because it's such a risk. It's a risk. But why is it in the forefront of a wolf's mind, which then means it's also going to be in the forefront, believe it or not, in your dog's mind. And I know you're sitting there scratching your head going, okay, so Bryan, I think you've lost your brains today. I think you've lost. I think you've done too many of these darn videos. You've kind of lost your brain. So what the heck does a patch model have to do with my dog? Because I feed my dog all the time. I've got food. He doesn't have to go traveling no patches. It means everything. Just because you feed it doesn't mean that the instinct to find these patches isn't there. And there's going to be another problem that I'm going to bring in tomorrow. And it's called overexploitation. It's called interference from another competitor. It's called the scramble effect. Yeah, these things affect the thinking of your dog's brain while your dog's camped out in your house around that other competitor. It does. And if you're concerned about the quality of life for your dog and the safety for your dog, because you're bringing more dogs into your household, you've got to put this at the forefront of your brain as well. And I did in the video yesterday, I talked about compatibility, how to stack that deck in your favor. What should you look for? What should you try to obtain before you bring two animals who, at the end of the day, their ancestry is related to predators. They still have fang. They still have claw. They still have so many of the mechanisms that drive their behavior that their ancestor still has. So it always has to be thought about. And so many people don't think about it. So that's my job, is to make sure you think about something that you would never think about on your own. So the patch model is really important, because here's the deal here. And again, this is all going to make sense come tomorrow. In the patch model, when you go to a patch, immediately, within minutes of being in the patch, so we have here is high density. So you discover this patch, and there's a lot of prey in it. There's a big time food source in this patch. So it starts off as a high density, but then you start chowing down. You start killing these darn things. So over a period of time, guess what happens? The density of prey drops over time, exponentially. It just drops with time because of exploitation of the patch. Even if you're hunting randomly, the odds are that they're clumped together because of their numbers. You will be able to capture many of them, and that brings me down to this bottom graph. You notice how the lines merge together? They come here. On this bottom graph, we have the number of captures. And then we have the time spent in the patch. So in the beginning, wow, you capture a lot. Look at that, all the way up to this point right here at the apex. You capture a lot of prey in the beginning, but the more time you spend in the prey, it kind of levels out because the density of prey is dropping. It's dropping. So again, it takes you a lot longer, more energy spent to capture prey in the patch. So that's you by yourself. What happens when someone else is in the picture? And again, I just want to kind of give you a trailer, come to events. Think about that bowl of food. Think about it. Is that a patch? Is that food? Everything your dog does, it runs it through a cost-benefit analysis. And it's always going to be centered as one of its priorities with food. Safety, of course, being taken into consideration. You don't have to worry about food if you're dead. But even if you're living a good life, life at its most fundamental level is the exchange of energy for more energy. So when you bring dogs into a household, you bring them into a habitat. When does it become more profitable to abandon a patch and go to another one? When does that happen? So when does the pressure on me create the desire and to leave the patch and go to another patch? And a lot of times, these patches in the wild are found in other habitats, meaning other territories that are occupied. Yeah, not only do I have to leave the safety of my own territory, I have to now go into another territory. So what would motivate a predator to do that? What would cause that? So in other words, what kind of pressure can become onto your dog that would make it, if it could talk to you, ask you, may I leave? May I leave? I'm an animal. I understand the risk. I understand cost benefit. I understand travel time. I understand I could starve to death. I take all these into account. But yet I want to leave. So what could possibly drive our dogs to want to leave, even though you give them food? So this kind of all ties in together when I talked about how dogs become stray dogs or free-ranging dogs, how they have that latent memory. Maybe while you're taking your dog out for a walk, I discovered a patch. A patch. They're always looking for them. Turn your dog loose into a big field and watch it sniff around. You bet. There they go. Sniffing, sniffing, sniffing. Searching, searching, searching. Always looking for food. But you feed them, but they look for it anyway. Why do they go out there and then start to munch on rabbit poop, on deer poop, on anything they can find? Someone else's dog treats that they were using and spilled them on the ground. Someone spilled food. Why do they snatch up that candy wrapper? You feed them, right? Instinct, baby. Instinct. So this drives our animals. And when it drives our animals, conditions can come on your dog because they live in a contained habitat. Nevertheless, always searching, always thinking about food, always thinking about food. Dogs don't know that you're going to feed them every day for the rest of their lives. They have no concept of a lifelong beneficiary like yourself. They don't. The long-term net rate of energy intake is foremost on their mind among all things. I've got to eat. And the pressure to be able to eat and know that I have enough, that I've solved the long-term net intake, that I'm getting more of a benefit than it's costing me, is crucial to your dog's well-being, to its psychological health, and of course to its physical health. So guys, I'm going to tie this all in together tomorrow, but I want you to kind of just put all this stuff on the front of your mind. Think about it. Think about it. We're humans, okay? So let me kind of give you a little example here. So you got a great paying job. Yep, and you're thinking, boy, that's going to take care of my long-term net rate of energy intake. I work X amount of hours and I get paid this amount of money. And with that amount of money, I can buy this amount of food. I'm good to go. So what would make you leave that job and go to another one? Why? Think about it. If you're a job hopper, what makes you leave? You accepted the job, you're working the job, you're enjoying the job, job's paying for things, cost benefit. What would make you leave? So put that in your head. Again, there's so many similarities and then there's so many non-similarities that we share with our dogs. But this patch model, that's one of them. So okay guys, so tomorrow I'm going to tie it all in together. Trust me, I did not lose my brain. It's just, I'm always looking and searching and feeling for anything and everything that can help our dogs to be more compatible with us and more compatible with each other. So every little nugget I can give you, every little moment in time in which you stop and go, it's a patch model, huh? Yeah, well, I need to think about that. I really do. Okay, so I'll tie it all in again tomorrow. All right, so stay tuned. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And once you learn some of this right here, I guarantee you, you're going to start studying those dogs that you have in your household a little bit more. And one thing leads to another, and hopefully we can keep them. But if not, then we have to make that difficult decision to send someone off to another patch, off to another habitat. All right, we'll cover that tomorrow. You got any questions for me? Send them to me. You know where to send them to, Bryan with the Y at tamingthewild.com. And you probably won't share this information, but I'm asking you to until I get to tomorrow and tie it all in together here. Okay, the patch model, baby. That's it. See you tomorrow.